collections that lie there in that old curiosity shop.
Let that harmony ring up to heaven and sing. Sing, you sinners, just wave your arms all about. Let the Lord hear you shout, pour that music right out. Sing, you sinners. Whenever there's music, why the devil kicks. He don't love music by that river Styx. You're wicked and you're depraved, and you all misbehaved. If you wanna be saved, sing, you sinners.
Well, hello everyone, this is Scott from the Old Curiosity Shop, and I'm back with another kitchen counter thrift haul. Just look at all that stuff. I bet you're going to see some things that you have never seen before, at least not in any of my thrift hauls. I found some wonderful Art Deco, lots of items from the 1930s, which is absolutely my #1 top favorite. If you're new to my videos, you may not realize that I sort of specialize in the 1920s and 30s, but I'll collect and buy things all the way up into the early 60s. Beyond that, I know almost nothing past the 1960s. But first,
A cup of coffee, a sandwich, and you, a cozy corner, a table for two.
that's right, today's cup of coffee is brought to you by Franciscan. And that's the Coronado pattern from the 1930s. Several of you guessed it correctly, so I'm very proud of you for that. It's in beautiful condition, and I've got several pieces of this pattern which I'm going to be photographing and getting up in the Old Curiosity Shop very soon. So let me take a quick sip. That's good. And I will also tell you that where's the ginger snap? Well, my allotment of ginger snaps have been depleted, so no ginger snap tonight. Well, I'll live. All right, let's get started and see what's what. I'm going all the way over here because I can't wait to get this bad boy restored. It is an electric waffle iron from somewhere around 1928 to 1935-ish. You've heard me say before, it was very popular. We think of, the 1920s, that everyone cooked in the kitchen with the door shut. It was a separate room, and you weren't supposed to see what was going on in the kitchen, but it was very popular, at least at breakfast, to be able to cook items right at the table. And all the magazines of the day talked about how the electric waffle iron and the percolator and toaster and whatnot could get the housewife out of the kitchen so she could socialize. And so we have a really beautiful waffle iron that you easily could have plugged this in on your kitchen table. I'm sorry, on your dining room table, and made your waffles right in front of your guests. Pull the handle down, up it goes. This one is in pristine condition. Now I need to clean it, and I will. I really like the small size. You get 3 small waffles, not those great big, huge, thick things that we have today, but nice little sizes, which would have been what folks ate in the 1920s and 30s. This one I think is General Electric or Westinghouse. It's in really good condition. I'm going to be able to keep this original cord, and this is going to clean up beautifully. So I haven't plugged it in or done anything to it yet. I've got to do some restoration on that, and I might film it for you. Today I just purchased, this is fresh out of the flea market this morning, a well, let's zoom in on it. You already recognize it's the Hamilton Beach. Why are we not focusing? Hamilton Beach Milkshake Maker, number 10. Now, this was actually made when drugstores were really just serving malted milks. It was usually Horlicks malt, and it would be added to the milk, and that's what you would drink. Not necessarily the milkshakes that we think of today, because this is a very early model. Now, the Model 10 was the first model to have the on-off switch embedded inside of the porcelain neck. So there is no on-off switch on this. And to get it to run, we'll back up a little bit. We take the stainless steel cup and we slide it right up. And she purrs like a kitten. That's Hamilton Beach for you. Now you notice the agitator here are 2 simple, almost like pinwheels, and you might think, well, that's not going to mix ice cream, but again, it wasn't really designed to. The later models had a much larger agitator on the bottom for stirring up the ice cream, but this was really just designed to mix up the malted milk. The porcelain base and neck are pristine. There's not a crack on it. Just amazing. This chrome is usually pitted. It's just brilliant. You can actually see me in it. Hello. I've bought and sold these before, but I've never really had one in such great shape. And I know you're getting ready to say, I bet he's going to keep that. Yeah, I'm going to keep it. At least I'm going to live with it for a while. We'll see what happens. Here's a money box. You've seen these before. Made of tin, and this is the way they were usually painted. I'm not sure I can get that open with one hand, so I won't bother. This will be for sale, and it's in really good condition. I do like old photographs of sports teams. I think I told you the reason why. I started my collection of them when I was given several photographs of my grandparents playing sports in the 1920s and 30s. And I'll show you those some other time. These are not family photos, but I do like these big pictures. Now this one here, try to zoom in the best I can, is in a frame, and it is absolutely fantastic. Let me turn off, where's my switch? Right there. Does that show up any better? Maybe not really. All right, well actually, you want to see that first? That's a wonderful Art Deco light fixture that I also bought. It didn't come on this frame. And this could be for a picture or over a bed or a medicine cabinet, but that dates to the 30s as well. And it's getting really hot, so I'm not going to touch it. But I want you to be able to see this photograph because maybe you can help me. Now, I don't know what PP stands for. I believe this is probably a track team, although I don't know that. I'm basing it upon their uniforms and their shoes. We're obviously not talking about football or baseball. So I think running, track, some type of track and field would be my best guess. There's nothing written on it, so I don't know what PP stands for. Now, Princeton University is not far from here, about an hour away, and I have seen several photographs from Princeton. So, does anybody really know? Is this Princeton? Doesn't look like a high school team to me. They do look a little bit older for that, and the trophies are just so exuberant and just beautifully done. And I have zoomed in on these, and I can't find anything on them. Look at the statue on the top of this. It's almost like a big clock topper on top of that trophy. I mean, if it's a high school, these are pretty grand trophies, and that's the reason why I'm feeling like it might be Ivy League and could be Princeton. But I don't know. Believe me, I've zoomed in and I can't see anything on these trophies. But I'll let you take a look at the guys here in their track, what I think are track uniforms. Guess that's their coach over there. It's in a beautiful oak frame, and I'm guessing by the hairstyles and whatnot that this is the very early 20s. You started to see a lot of men parting their hair just like that in the 20s. And notice there's no facial hair. All the popular facial hair of the turn of the century is gone, and that clean cut look is in. Anyway, great photograph. I'm keeping that. And does anybody have an idea? I'd love to know. Look at this toy movie camera. Isn't it fantastic? I hope you can see it. It's hot too because I have it plugged in. It just takes a regular light bulb, which I'm now shining in your faces. So that's the reason why it's plugged in. And it is a toy. It has a crank on it here. And if we try to do this with one hand, which I'm not being very successful at, holding the camera and trying to turn the crank. Now, I don't know what size film it would take. It almost looks like film strip size. It certainly isn't 8mm or 16mm. The wheel is much too large, and the reels are just huge. So this film was at least an inch in width. But I'm going to be tracking down. There's nothing on it. I don't know who made it. I'm sure it's from the 30s. It's all there. It's not missing a thing. I did clean it up. I had to do a few repairs on it. And it actually does crank very well. It's just hard to do it with one hand. This that you saw at the beginning is not a movie that goes with this camera because it's this is 8mm and it's very small film. But this is a newsreel from 1943 newsreel. So I can't wait to watch that on my 8mm film camera, and yes, you're going to be watching it with me. Eventually, I'll get to it, I promise. Moving right along, I don't know why I was attracted to this. It's a magnet. It just looks like all those magnets that you see in the old cartoons. So I love it. Okay, probably made by L.E. Smith, a piece of black glass in the, I think maybe the Mount Pleasant pattern. Around 1930 or so. And you can see what temperature it is in this place right now, just shy of 80. I really don't keep it that cool in here. I don't mind it being warm. That's an Art Deco thermometer. Desktop, tabletop. Let you see that. And it doesn't want to focus, so we won't zoom in too much on it. In excellent condition. I'm also keeping that. You know I love my Deco. And wow, that was just a great find. I was thrilled to get my hands on that. Going into the front here, you saw this last week, remember? The New York World's Fair hot plate or trivet. So why is it reappearing? Well, the guy that I bought it off of is a guy I buy things off of quite often, and he sells every week at a flea market. He knows me well. So I went back and he said, "Hey Scott, remember the New York World's Fair thing that you bought last week?" Well, after you left, I went through the box and I found this all came from one particular estate, And I found some more items, or at least one more item to give you from the New York World's Fair, and it's this right here, and I think we can match a face to the souvenir. I feel very strongly, because it came out of the exact same estate, that this is the lady. Now let me focus it. Okay, let's get up here, because you've got to see it. There she is. She has kind of a melancholy look, doesn't she? A little bit of sadness in her eyes. But looks like a very pleasant lady. And why do I think that this is the person who actually bought this souvenir at the New York World's Fair? Why would I think that? You ready? That's why. Isn't this fantastic? There it is. Came from the same estate. These are both from the New York World's Fair, and I think she had her picture taken, and she bought this and brought it home with her, and I am really annoyed that this keeps going in and out of focus, and I'm going to stop saying that, but I love it. I just think it's fantastic. Who is she? Where was she from? Did she take the train up from Queens, from Brooklyn rather, or from Manhattan? Was she from Jersey, Philly? Did she come in from Kansas? Who knows? We will probably never know. But her photograph is going to stay with this trivet as long as I'm in charge of both of them. And why don't we give her a name? Why don't we just give her a name? I'm thinking Mildred or Phyllis. Anyway, I thought you'd enjoy that. A set of Bakelite spoons, knives, no forks, but I'm going to track them down. These were $1 each. I was thrilled. I bought 11 pieces. I paid the man $11 because he wanted $1 each. Art Deco, and it is Bakelite. There's a name on it, so let's see. I'm going to be able to probably be able to track down some forks on the internet if I do a search. Stainless steel. You're not seeing it, are you? No, you're not. Okay, well, my camera here is really misbehaving today. So I will be on the lookout to try to complete this set. I walked into the Goodwill, and everybody say it with me, I almost got detached retina when I saw these. A range set. Now this is called a range set when you have salt, pepper, flour, sugar, porcelain, circa 1930, 32, 33, in mint condition. There's not a crack, a scratch. There's no crazing. They're fantastic, and they are as Art Deco as can be. What's wonderful is because they're porcelain, the names, so forth, sugar and so forth, is underneath the glaze, and so it's not worn away. On the glass, it's usually a decal, and often it's worn away. The corks are gone, not a problem. I'll replace them. Oftentimes these were given away when folks bought a new stove or a refrigerator. You could get a free set from your appliance dealer, but you could also buy them. Probably made by one of the American dinnerware companies. I don't know who. I haven't done any research on them. They're in that cream color of the 30s. The print is deco. They almost look like skyscrapers, if you will. And I could not believe it when I found these. I held my breath thinking one of them is going to be cracked or chipped or broken. Nope. Perfect. I couldn't believe it. Back at the flea market, I found this guy, who I also think is from the 30s. Because of the green, the metal, the color here, the cream color of the porcelain. It is a salt and pepper shaker that you can pass with one hand. So pass the salt and pepper, I'd be happy to, and one hand passes them both at the same time. The lids come off, you can fill either side. You know, there's no cork on the bottom. I don't know who made it, but it fits in beautifully with all these other items from the 1930s. Here are a couple of vintage pencils. I had to pick these up. I just had to. A flower frog in jadeite green. Wow. The one that I showed you a couple days ago is currently for sale. It's at $15. It's porcelain and it's blue. I've never seen a jadeite green flower frog before. I was thrilled to get it. It's made by Cowan and it is signed on the back. Pottery, Cowan Pottery right there. Wow. One lone poor little Hazel Atlas furniture caster, coaster caster. It's not a salt, it's a furniture caster. This I think is Hocking, if I remember correctly, refrigerator dish with its lid in good shape. There is a flea bite on the inside, a little bit more than a flea bite right there. I'd call that more of a chip. But it's on the underside of the lip of the lid, and kitchen glass collectors are usually pretty forgiving about that. By Jeanette, there's a Delphite bud vase in an Art Deco style. Is it Jeanette? Yes, Jeanette made these. That sells for about $30, and I think I found that at the Goodwill for about $1 or $1.50. So I've never had one. I've had it in jadeite before, but I've never had it in the Delphite. This is acro agate. It's Art Deco. It's glass. You'll recognize acro agate, you marble collectors, because they really were known for their marbles. But in the 30s and 40s, they also made glass. And you can just see how Art Deco and geometric it is. Beautiful color. And you're saying, oh, what a shame it's missing his lid. No, it never came with a lid. That's how it was made. This was called a utility bowl. There was even a number after it, which I can't remember right now. But it never had a lid. It was just a nice little bowl that could be used in your kitchen for whatever reason. And again, that was from Goodwill, and I was shocked to find it. It's wonderful. It's Art Deco. I don't know much about this. It's probably a bottle for homemade wine. It's a great big, huge bottle. You can see there with a porcelain top. I didn't try to open it. There's nothing in it. I'm going to sell that. Alright, let's put you back. And I can't remember if I showed you this or not. I might have. But, and so if I did, I'm showing it to you twice. I'm almost certain that I've already shown you this, so let's put that back. Alright, I'm coming back to this mystery box in a minute, but I want you to hang tight, okay? Let's go back to another old photograph that I just paid $5 for. There's nothing on this, but I'll tell you, from all the flea marketing that I've done, finding tennis is not easy. Baseball, basketball, football, well, not really football, but baseball and basketball all the time. Hard to find tennis. And again, I would put this in the 1920s. This, I feel, is a high school, probably. Love it. And that's going to go in a frame as well, and in my collection. Two wonderful bookends. I don't know who made them, but I know when they were made and I know where they were made. When I got my hands on these at the thrift shop for about $7, I knew they were from the 20s. Let me get myself down here. Because they just had that particular style. I will tell you in advance, there's nothing wrong with them. Amazing. If these things tipped over, a tusk would break, and you almost always get broken tusks on elephants. This is just unbelievable. Now you'll notice there's a little bit of wear in certain spots, like right there. This is a patina, it's a paint, a false grain. These are made out of metal. That seems like tin. This could be spelter up here. And this is all patinated, so these aren't bronze or anything like that. It's all an applied finish, but they're in super fantastic condition. These metal pieces on the bottom are soldered on, and they were starting to come off. So I decided I would go ahead and take them off and repair it correctly. So I dated them to the 1920s when I saw them, and let me show you what I found on the inside. When I removed the metal from the bottom, this is the felt that was on the bottom, and I saved it because I'm going to put it back on. But the bookends were stuffed with newspaper, and the newspapers were dated 1925, and it was a Newark, New Jersey newspaper. These newspapers were put in those things when they were manufactured. Both of them were stuffed with newspaper from 1925, and I think it was done that way in the factory. That's what I think, and I'm pretty sure about that. So it was great to find out that I could date them to 1925 specifically, and also that they, since it was a Newark, New Jersey newspaper, they were probably made in a factory in New Jersey. I saved this one piece because this made me laugh. How many of you know who Lydia Pinkham was? Well, I do, and there's a specific reason why. My grandmother told me a hilarious story about Lydia Pinkham, and I'm not going to tell you just yet, but it's going to be coming up in another video when I do another this and that. You guys kind of seem to like the this and that format, so next this and that, I'm going to tell you what my grandmother told me about Lydia Pinkham. So I hope that you will hang on for that, because it's going to be a funny story. I think there's one thing left that I did not tell you about. And hold on for a second here. Yes, the only thing I didn't tell you about was The Ideal Scout by Robert Tate Mackenzie. Now, he was a Canadian born 100 years before me in 1867. I think he's from Ontario. And he was a fascinating man. Look him up if you want. He came to Philadelphia and held an office with the Boy Scout Commission, and he did this, the original statue. This is called the Ideal Scout. The original 18-inch statue was done in 1911, and I think he did a life-size in 1937, which used to be in front of the Scout building on the Parkway here in Philadelphia. I think it's been moved. I'm gonna get back to you on that, because if it's still there, I'll go take a picture of it. Anyway, this is a trophy that was given out, and we can see here that it says, hold on, oh my goodness, I don't know why I'm having so much difficulty tonight with this. Anyway, you're not going to be able to see that, but it says, to Leon from Troop 31, no date. Okay, so I don't know who Troop 31 was, nor do I know who Leon was. But I think this one dates to either the 30s or 40s. They did continue to make these into the 1970s, and they're cheap knockoffs. They look nothing like this one. The detail on this is amazing, and that's because this was taken directly from the model of Mackenzie, the sculptor. So the early models are very well done. Again, this is patented metal, probably spelter, and this is an actual Bakelite bottom. You just get the feeling of the quality of it, that it's probably a 1930s, 40s trophy rather than a model that's later than that. That's my feeling on it. And I could be wrong, but boy, isn't that cool? We can see here Art Tate Mackenzie, I think 1915. Can you see that? Art Tate Mackenzie, I think it says 1915 on, or 1919, something like that. I don't believe that's the year that this was made. I think that's the year that the smaller size was made, commissioned, and actually made for trophies for scouting. And this is in absolute perfect condition. There's not a scratch on it. There's not a dent on it. The patination is beautiful. Very well done. Very high quality. And that's also going to be for sale in the old Curiosity Shop. So let's put that back and get this thing to refocus. And I'll move back. I think I covered... No, I forgot to tell you what's in the mystery box. I'm telling you what, I was so thrilled. You've seen this flashlight before. I've had it for quite some time, and I put it in a video a while back. The reason why I decided to save it is because of the Art Deco design on it. This sort of random geometric shape shaped Art Deco design was typical of that late 20s, early 30s period, and it showed up in graphic design on many decorative arts, as well as a flashlight. What do you think is in this box? You're just not going to believe this. Folks, when I saw this and the lady said $2, all right, stop being so dramatic and take the lid off. Did you guys just gasp? Why am I being so dramatic? That is that's an original necktie, silk necktie. Now look, it's the same geometric. Even if we didn't know, there's no date on it, there's nothing. The shape at the bottom, typical of what you see right around 1928, 29, 30, 33. This tie is starched, it's never been worn. It is absolutely fantastic. You hold it up so you can see it. Wow. Can you see how the silk shimmers in the light with the Art Deco design on it? To find a tie like that, and by the way, collectible men's silk ties from the Depression and so forth, very collectible. That tie right there, I don't know, but I'll tell you, a vintage clothing person, we can call this almost new old stock, never been used. That's got to be, a $30, $40 tie. I might even be under guessing what it would sell for, but I'm not actually sure I want to part with it. I think I want to wear it and walk around with my flashlight. Yes, so we're gonna hold on to that. Okay, wow, that was just amazing to find that. You can tell how much I love Art Deco and how exciting it is to find things like that that are so well preserved. Okay, back up again. I think I got it all. And yes, so I know. Listen, I've been out thrifting, folks. I've got a lot of catch up to do. There are a lot of things on in my eBay store that you've seen in videos that I have not got listed yet. I'm really going to work on that in the next couple of days. Today was fantastic. When I walked out at about 5:30 this morning, it was 56 degrees. Boy, I've been waiting for that. I hope it cooled off wherever you are. If you happen to like cool weather, it was a little hint of the autumn that's to come. And we'll just wrap it up right there. This is Scott from the Old Curiosity Shop saying thanks for watching. I'm going to go make a malted milk. So long for now.